Hi! Glad you could make it today. I'm Mickey and you're listening to the Obsession Report. Let's talk about things that keep us up at night. In a good way, of course. For today's report, we are talking about a mobile game, mainly Love Deepspace. This game has been my most recent obsession, especially after their recent patch update, and so obviously deserves its own episode. Well, let's not dilly-dally any further and get right into it. So I have to preface this by saying, if you're not over the age of 18, in other words still a minor, I don't suggest you play this game, even though its rating is 12 and up on the App Store. Like, who thought that was a good idea with all the risque cards you can get? And with that out of the way, what exactly is Love Deepspace? Well, Love Deepspace is an otome game, which means it is a game for the female gaze. You essentially get to play with very hot men and experience a visual novel type story with them. It's not a game for everyone, since it really leans heavily into its man service, but if you're into that, then this game is probably perfect for you. Not only is there a main story that you can follow along and try to understand, you can do so many activities with these men, such as, number 1, you can interact with them on the homepage, including quote-unquote touching them. You can touch them anywhere. And I mean anywhere. They will also respond back accordingly, if you know what I mean. Wink wink. You can also feel their heartbeat, tease them, change their outfits, and spend time with them. For now, this includes working, studying, and exercising. They might add more activities in the future, who knows, it's a live service gacha game. That possibility is not out of the picture, so I'm looking forward to see what else they add in. And number 2, you can also collect cards, or this game likes to put it, memories. These cards not only allow you to download very nice art on them, but also the higher rarity ones unlock more romantic and sometimes risque memories. Usually these risque memories are locked behind the limited time banners, and you can interact with these memories and basically self-insert. Number 3 is the combat. Yes, there's combat in this. Honestly, even though I'm not too experienced with otome games, very rarely you actually have combat, not to mention action combat. The combat system in this game is surprisingly pretty good, considering it's not really an action-focused game to begin with. The cards that you can collect can also be leveled up and used in combat. If I were to make a comparison, it's kinda like light cones in Honkai Star Rail, if you have played that, except you can equip up to 6 of them. Wasn't expecting it going to this game, but you can easily get your action fix here. And lastly, you can go on dates. So this game allows you to go on dates with the man of your choice and do things like play board games, play the claw machine, and you can actually try and get plushies if you want to. There's also a photo booth where you can style the man and your main character in various poses. There's also lighting and backdrop options, which makes this mode very fun for people who are creative. I've even seen people make stories or memes with this mode on their subreddit, so you can get really creative with this. And not to mention limited time events, because this is a live service gacha game. There are events that come and go. Most of these events don't come back once they're gone, so that's how they trap you with the FOMO to keep playing this game. So now, I know that mobile games don't really get a good rep due to the gacha mechanics and predatory pricing strategies, which is very understandable. However, if you can control yourself from ever spending money or spend responsibly, some of these games are actually quite fun to play. This is my warning to you, gacha is basically like gambling at a casino. Do it responsibly or else you might actually ruin your life. For real. So, now that you know what Love Deepspace is all about, let's talk about the main story and the lore. So yes, there is actually story in this game. Many gacha games are not known to have very good stories, but they're slowly getting better. I don't think they have reached the peak of good story in video games just yet, but As long as it keeps its players intrigued, I'd say it's a successful story at least. And now, for the main reason why it's so confusing. The actual main story isn't so hard to understand. It follows a linear timeline where our MC meets with the various love interests along the way. The lore surrounding the characters is what is confusing. The game doesn't give you any timestamps or tell you when the other things are happening. The game also breaks all the lore bits into different places, from card memories to anecdotes, which are basically short stories you can read about the main character that do not involve our MC, and myths, which are like fantasy-ish stories of our MC and the love interests. I don't want to spoil everything for you just yet, so I'll just give you a tiny teaser of what the main story has in store for you. So, Love and Deepspace takes place in Lincoln City, spelled with a K. It is a futuristic, kinda sci-fi-ish city that our MC and love interests live in. Our MC works as a deep space hunter in the Hunters Association. The main job of a hunter is to fight against wanderers, which are these monsters that are hostile towards humans and collect their proto-cores, which are things that drop when wanderers are killed. Hunters fight against these monsters with the power of Evolve, which is kind of like elemental magic powers that only a few people have. These people are blessed with the Evolve gene, which is why they have the Evolve powers. So our MC deals with all these wanderers and meet our love interests, who also have Evolve powers by the way, and then the rest, I'll leave it to you to play. So pretty understandable so far, right? But then, when do the anecdotes and the myths that I mentioned take place? It's not like it can take place at the same time as the main story, which I might add, we don't know, in the grand scheme of things, where it takes place. Not only that, in the myths, our MC and love interests have different names. Or some have the same names but have different statuses. Like, to give an example, without naming names just yet, in one of the myths, our MC is the queen of some kingdom, and the love interest is the knight that protects us. But then we meet for the first time in the main story. So, yeah, kinda confusing. Some players are thinking past lives, or future lives, or parallel universes, but there hasn't been any confirmation just yet. I like it though, because it really makes the players interested in puzzling out the timeline of events and for future story beats to make this picture clearer. Now, let's introduce the various love interests. The first is Xavier, who is a fellow hunter that hunts wanderers with your MC. You meet him on a mission, and then that's how he gets acquainted and slowly romantic with your MC. He's kinda like the soft boy among all the love interests, if I had to choose one word to describe him. Actually, you know what, let's just do that for the rest of them as well. So next is Zane, who is the primary care physician assigned to your MC. Now I know there's a lot of concern about being romantic with your doctor, but it's a game. He's also your childhood friend. Well, okay, not that it makes much of a difference, but he's very serious about his job and he does it well while caring for our MC. And I would describe him as a kudere tsundere mix, if you know the different dere types in Japanese anime. I would describe him like that because he's usually quite stoic, but he really cares about our MC. After that, there's Raphael, who is an artist who paints very well. You meet him when your MC is doing an investigation regarding an incident as part of her hunter job. He likes to tease the MC a lot and flirt with her. He's a cute flirt, I guess. That's the best I can do. And also, he's my favorite love interest among them all, just in case you're interested in my bias. And finally, we have the newest love interest added to the roster. Usually, otome games don't add new love interests, only new content with the existing love interests. So this is quite a fresh change. His name is Silas, with an S. And your main character meets him on the investigation that she has to do in the main story. A different investigation from the one where she met Raphael, just to take note. He's probably the most abrasive love interest of them all, since our MC and Silas were both enemies when they first met. I know what you're thinking, you can just smell and see the enemies to lovers coming from a mile away, but just because it's predictable doesn't mean it's any less exciting or ineffective. Describing him in one word is the easiest. He's a bad boy, through and through. But of course he comes with a heart of gold, because bad boy, MC tames him, becomes good boy to her only. You know, the list goes on, blah blah blah. Oh, and also, as a side note, his first limited card is him being tied up and our MC stepping on him. Yep, Love and Deepspace really be pulling out all the stops for him. And it worked, because they actually overtook Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact for the month of July, which really surprised me. Like, Honkai Star Rail and Genshin has always been at the top, and suddenly Love and Deepspace becomes second because of Silas. Yeah, I guess that's just a sign that man service works as well as fan service. So, oh, and also another tangent. When are we getting our risque Raphael card? I'm currently trying to get the first kiss card on the current Misty Evasion banner, but he's not coming. So just come, please. So yes, if you can't tell, I really like this game. So let's move on to the next section. Why I love Love and Deepspace so much. It's now time to get into the spoiler territory. It's my favorite part because we can talk about every single thing under the sun. So, if you haven't played this game and want to experience it for yourself, go and play the game. Don't continue listening. Come back once you've done playing the game, or you have caught up, or at least have a good idea of the main story at least, before coming back here. Okay? So now that you have your warning, let's get right into it. So there's a few reasons why I started playing this game and why I continue to play this game. The first aspect that really caught my eye is its graphics. When I first saw advertisements of it on YouTube, I genuinely thought it was a Final Fantasy spin-off or something. If you're an avid gamer, or even if you're not, everyone knows that Square Enix and Final Fantasy has the best video game graphics in the market right now. So to see an advertisement for a mobile game look so good that I actually thought it was a Final Fantasy related game, I just gotta check it out at least. It's free to play in the App Store. There's no cost in starting to play, and you could argue that the cost of me starting to play the game is spending money in the future, but back then it was free to play and I didn't have anything to lose. So moving on, the second aspect I really like is that the memories that they have for each love interest are very high quality. These memories not only provide good wallpaper quality material, but also provide pretty intimate moments with the love interests. I myself have downloaded a few of them to use as my phone wallpaper. So for example, I have Xavier's first limited banner memory, where Xavier is cuddling with the MC in a POV format, of course. They even let you touch him in different areas and see his reaction to it. Overall, very intimate and fluffy, and the quality of the memories make me want to continue playing to collect more for my favorite love interest, which is Raphael, by the way. Unfortunately, his cards are not coming. I only have 2 5 stars and they are both free. So yeah, a bit sad. It's a little bit of a sad state of events for my account, but it is what it is. It is gacha, it is luck. So anyway, the third aspect that I really like about Love and Deepspace, and this may be an aspect that only a few people playing this game enjoy. I enjoy using the photo booth with our love interests. So before this current patch, they only had the upper body shots and very limited posing capabilities. But after they introduced the full body photo booth and introduced more options such as positioning, lighting, background, styling, even wind direction, so you can get your clothes and hair blowing in the wind. I've just gone wild with it. I've made so many interesting photo shoots with the various love interests and shared those with my friends. And some of them are actually using them as wallpapers. So I think that's a testament to how good and how creative you can make with like the photo booth function. And also, I mean, maybe I'm just good at it also. And I guess the fourth aspect I really like is the combat. It's not the best combat in the world, and I would say compared to other combat focused games or gacha games at least, like Wuthering Wave, ZZZ, or even just Ease. In my previous episode we talked about Ease. Like, it's not the best compared to those games, but it's pretty good considering this is an otome game. This combat isn't even the main focus for Love and Deepspace. The main focus is spending time with all these men. They really put enough thought into it that it actually flows well with the rest of the game. They even have a roguelike mode called the Abyssal Chaos in there for those that enjoy the combat of Love and Deepspace. So you have a thing for everyone, you know? And the fifth aspect that I like is the lore and the story. So we touched a little bit earlier, but I'm talking about the main story and the lore, so both of them together. The lore can include stuff like anecdotes. You have these short stories for our main characters. You have the myths. You also get phone messages where you can chat with them and learn more about them. Those also are included in lore. I haven't finished reading all the anecdotes just yet, but from what I have read, these are some of my prevailing theories, okay? This is for people who are players of Love and Deepspace already. So number 1, Xavier is from the future planet of Phylos. Phylos has been established to be where humans started living after Earth was destroyed in Xavier's anecdotes. Our MC has some kind of heart disease and Xavier fails to save us before we die. After that, he promises to save us and then somehow travel to the past back to Lincoln City, which is on Earth, where he meets the MC again. I still don't know the timeline for our MC yet, and I don't know where his myth story takes place, where our MC is the queen and he is her knight. So yeah, this is the story I was talking about earlier. It's Xavier's myth story. I still don't know where it takes place, nor have I finished it because I only have one of his myth story card. So in the future, if I get more cards, I might make an extra episode. No guarantee, but it is a possibility. Okay, so my second theory is regarding Zane. This is not really a theory, honestly. It's just a little bit confusing. In the current timeline, he's our childhood friend and assigned doctor, but he's also privy to the information about how our MC was saved because of the ether core that was placed in her by her grandmother, who was a researcher on the project to implant the ether core into our main character. And then in the myths, he is the Farseer, and our MC is a peasant who is looking for a cure also for some kind of heart disease. This I speculate. I don't think it's mentioned, or if it's mentioned, I missed it. So, and next, Raphael is a merman. This is not even a theory. He shows up in the main story with his merman tail. He used to be from some underwater kingdom, I think, in the past. But then he came to the surface and met our MC. And then after, he made a promise with our MC, but she somehow forgot about him. I don't know what happened there. I will definitely remember this, so you don't have to worry, Raphael. But yeah, our MC somehow forgets the promise that she makes with him. I don't have his myth cards yet, so not entirely sure about his myth stories. And the last one is about Silas. Silas is the one we know the least about because he's the newest love interest. All I know now is that he also has the special ether core in his eye, just like how our MC has the ether core in her heart. And that causes a lot of shenanigans. Like one of the cards, they end up being handcuffed together and not being able to separate themselves because of some ether core things. He's also the sort of ruler of the N109 zone, where most of the past researchers that worked on the operation with the ether core for the MC now live after they retire or quote unquote disappear. So a lot of things to find out, but we only just entered the N109 zone in the latest update, so it might take a while before we know what actually is the deal with Silas. And also, as of this point, not sure if MILFs are some sort of alternate timeline, or maybe they're all in the same timeline, or maybe each love interest story takes place in the parallel universe from each other. I don't know. There's just so many questions and no answers yet. Will most likely get answered in the future, but until that time comes, we'll just have to continue speculating, I guess. And I mean, I guess the last reason is that the men are all hot. I see a hot man on my screen, I get curious, the art is so beautiful, they're prettier than me. What more is there to say? What's not to like? Seriously. So Love and Deepspace is definitely not made for everyone, but if you enjoy husbandos and hot men, then this is the game for you. Good graphics, a good story, interesting lore, good combat, and amazing art. It's pretty much a complete package. There's something for everyone. Well, it's been great chatting with you today. So, I want to ask all of you, all the viewers, have you played an otome game before? And if you have, what sort of otome games have you played? There are quite a few on the market. I'm not familiar with all of them because I'm still quite new to otome games. So if you guys are veterans, feel free to give me more recommendations because I like hot men and good stories. So I think a lot of otome games have that. Just put it in the comment, I'll go and check them out. And also, if you're interested in chatting even more in the future, consider leaving a like, a rating, or you can just follow or subscribe to my page. We can continue to chat more about our obsessions. Hope you have a good one. Bye bye.